Do you like long walks on the beach? If you can accurately guess the weight of this tool bag, we will let you win the internet for one day. With it. Careful with how it lays. So when a plumber comes to your house, they're usually going to be carrying a bag similar to this. You've often wondered what's inside the bag. Today, we're going to show you. I prefer a half bag, and what I mean by that is the back half is flat, so that way when you're carrying it on your shoulder or by the handle, it can rest against your body nice and easily, and you're not rubbing all your tools against yourself. I've got a handle strap for me to carry it by my hand. I've also got an adjustable shoulder strap that lets me carry it by my shoulder. We've got an option for a tape measure hook on either side of the bag. A good metal hook on each side of the bag for a tape measure is awesome. Let's go over what some of these tools do. First and foremost, all right, so let's take some time and go over some of these tools and see what we've got in the bag. First and foremost, we have a sheetrock saw. Obviously, a lot of the piping that we need to repair is behind sheetrock, and we need a good way to get into that sheetrock. I prefer to use a handsaw like this instead of a sawzall because sawzalls have a way of cutting everything in the wall, a lot of which we don't want to cut. So I will use a handsaw. This thing is pretty sharp, so I actually, inside my bag, I have a little copper sheath that I've made for this saw so that whenever I drop the saw down into the bag, it doesn't get caught on anything. It can just slide down the sheath. We have some pipe joint compound. This is a lubricant that helps us screw things together. It helps us get them super tight so that they don't leak. We have 3 different sizes of channel lock pliers. I have more pliers than this, but they don't fit in my go bag. Some of them are larger. I prefer the Nimpex brand pliers. They seem to have more adjustability for all the various sizes that we need to work with. Some other guys prefer the channel lock brand. Personally, I don't like channel locks. They don't seem to size out correctly for plumbing piping, so I use the Nimpex brand. We have some crescent wrenches. I carry 4 different size crescent wrenches in my bag. I've got a 10, an 8, a 6, and then my favorite, a 4-inch crescent wrench. Believe it or not, use this guy quite a bit. We have some electrical stuff. Plumbers every once in a while have to do some electrical work as we're wiring in disposals and sump pumps and tankless water heaters and any other various thing that we're doing that requires electricity. A couple of different wire cutters and strippers. And then I've also got what we call a dead man stick. I can turn this thing on, put it into an outlet or touch it near a wire, and it's gonna tell me if there is current going through that wire before I cut into it. Saves me from getting shocked. We have what we call a jeweler's saw. This does very fine cutting for very small areas, things like toilet bolts and stuff like that. I have a small flathead screwdriver. Believe it or not, I used to have a matched set where I had a small Phillips head screwdriver too. I lost the Phillips head screwdriver years ago and I've never needed it, so I must have never used it. The flathead screwdriver we use quite a bit for landing small wires on small terminals. I have a series of O-ring picks. These usually come in a set of 4. One of the picks is a straight pick. Really, the only thing the straight pick is good for is jabbing into your hand when you're trying to use it. I avoid that one. I've even pitched it out of my bag because I kept stabbing myself with it. We've got the 3, we've got the semi-angled, the angled, and then the hooked pick. And I'm not even kidding about stabbing yourself in the hand. A plumber should never need a straight pick. They're really good for making your finger extra holy. We have 3 different lengths of adjustable nut drivers. There are 3 different lengths. They are adjustable for a 1/4-inch screw or a 5/16 screw. It's a magnetic tip. You just pop it off, spin it around, put it back on there, and you can go from screwing in a 1/4-inch screw to a 5/16 screw. 3 different lengths because you never know what we're gonna get into. Worst case scenario, we can also stack them together and get longer lengths if we need. Next up, putty knife. Pretty much the only time I ever use this is for scraping toilet wax off of toilets or off of wax rings or flanges when we're doing toilets. We only touch this end of the putty knife. We never touch this end because that end has been in the doo-doo zone. We have a couple of screwdrivers. Both of these are actually identical. I just like to lose screwdrivers, and so I have 2 of them. One of them is set up for a 1/4-inch nut driver if I pop the end off. One of them is set up for a 5/16 nut driver if I pop the end off. I'm kidding about losing them. I very seldom lose my tools, except for the flathead screwdriver. To save time from trying to switch all these around to make them work for 5/16 or quarter, I just have 2 of them. We have a pair of large screwdrivers. One is Phillips, one is flathead. These we'll use a lot for installing garbage disposals and tankless water heaters, anything where we've got larger screws in place that we need to work with. The bigger handles on the screwdrivers make them really comfortable to use. 2 different versions of Allen wrenches. We've got standard and we've got metric. Faucets seem to have any combination of either of them. Some of the faucets these days that are coming off of like Amazon.com will have both standard screws and metric Allen screws. We have to keep a full set of both, and you would be surprised, both of these sets are still 100% full. Have never lost an Allen wrench. We've got the classic Stanley Fat Max tape measure. It is impossible to use this thing without trying to send it out and see how far you can get it to go without it breaking over. And I think we're about ready to break over right now. Oh, there it was, about 11 feet. On a non-windy day, I've gotten this thing out to about a 12-foot standout without it breaking over. It works for whatever a plumber needs to work with it. It's a 25-foot model. They make them in 30s and 35s. Pretty much anything I ever need is a 25. Another Stanley product here, we've got the utility knife. I like this one because in the handle we can store extra blades, and very quickly you can replace the blade if you need to. Plumbers tend to go through a lot of blades. A lot of what we are cutting is on like ceramic tile or something like that, so the blades get dull pretty quick. Blades are cheap. I like sharp blades because they're a lot safer than dull blades. So Stanley for the win there. Now we've got a set of Husky. These are Home Depot brand Husky tubing cutters. These are for PEX piping or any thinner, smaller plastic piping. Normal standard tubing cutters. These you could get a replaceable blade for, but for the price of the blade, you might as well just buy a whole new set of cutters. I've got several pairs of tin snips in my truck. However, I only keep 1 pair of mildly offset reds in my bag. I'm right-handed. The reds work really well for right-handed. They're mildly offset because if we need to cut a small circle or anything, we can. These are fairly inexpensive. One of the things you'll notice too is a lot of these tools are fairly inexpensive. And the reason for that, plumbers like to get their tools wet. Half of what we're working on is either dripping or leaking or flooded in some way, shape, or form, so our tools get submerged all the time. My sheetrock saw is all rusty because it gets submerged in wet sheetrock all the time. There's really not a significant point in investing serious dollars into some plumbing tools because they're gonna get rusty, they're gonna get worn out, and you can just replace them, right? Some of the tools I do invest in, these Nimpex pliers, they're not cheap, but they clean up from rust fairly well. I mean, I'm using Husky brand crescent wrenches and Husky brand O-ring picks. All of this stuff you can pick up at Home Depot fairly inexpensively. We've got a small 8-inch level. Obviously with plumbing, some of the stuff we install needs to be level. Some of it needs to have a certain amount of slope, and this level allows us to catch all of that. Wouldn't be a very good plumber if you did not have a level in your bag. Next up, we have a water pressure gauge. This is crucial because everything in plumbing on the supply side deals with water pressure. Excessive water pressure can destroy a lot of things in plumbing. We have a gauge to make sure that the water pressure is in check, and also make sure that when we're adjusting it, we're setting it exactly where we want it to be. This particular gauge is filled with glycol to increase its shock absorption level and also decrease its likelihood that it may freeze in the wintertime. We are based out of Kansas City, Missouri, and we freeze in the winters here, so we need to make sure that our gauge does not. Lastly, on the end here, we have some smaller odds and ends stuff. I've got a small pair of tubing cutters. This isn't the only pair of tubing cutters I have, but it's the only pair I have in my bag. A small set for making close quarter repairs, nothing more than that. Here we have some lavatory grease. A lot of times when we're assembling faucets or rebuilding faucets, as we're putting all of the different rubber seals together, we will coat them in a nice layer of grease. Or as we're screwing shower handles back on, we will coat the set screw for the shower handle in a layer of grease so that the next guy has a chance to get that set screw out. 2 different styles of tape on the truck, 2 completely different purposes. One is electrical tape, used for electrical, and one is pipe thread tape. It is Teflon tape, and it is another version of a lubricant that we can put around the threads of a pipe when we're screwing it together to help us get that pipe tighter. A lot of people think this is sealant, and it's not. It does nothing for sealing. It just helps lower the friction level to allow us to get the pipe tighter so that it can make a seal on its own. Lastly, I have some spare, these are called poly ferrules. These help seal little water lines from your faucets and your toilets. These ferrules like to get lost, or they like to be missing from time to time, so I keep a small sleeve of extras so I am never without. Now you know what's in a plumber's bag. Now that we know what's in a plumber's bag, we can go give that back to the guy we stole it from. Subscribe, as the young kids would call it. All right, now you know what's in a plumber's bag. So if you liked what you saw, give us a thumbs up on the video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure you do so for more fun and interesting things about plumbing.